Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Episode.
I was gonna do a goofy one for my kids and I forgot. Sorry, kids.
Not
in 2
this
weeks.
time. Yeah, in 2 weeks. That's right. Episode 206, Forever Exiled. We're here. Big shout out.
Just the two of us.
It is just the two of us this time. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, big shout out to our patrons, people who support the podcast. Thank you to Michael and Jason for both signing up this week. We love your faces, and everybody else who supports the podcast. Patreon gets you access to After Dark. It's our podcast after the podcast, and a card and a sticker and a virtual high five, etc.
And that virtual high five is one of those perfect ones where it's like it's nice and hard.
Always
it makes
on.
a nice loud clap. It slightly stings, but not too much. You know,
Yep.
like just the perfect little.
Just to know your buds. So yeah, thank you everybody who supports the podcast. We love your faces.
Agreed. Oh, and so a couple weeks ago, I was talking about one of our patrons, Robot Ninja. Well, it's not actually Robot Ninja, but that's what it spells backwards. But I never figured out how to spell it forwards.
Yep.
And you're so smart. You figured out that it was Robot Ninja backwards. So anyway, Robot Ninja. We were trying to find a slogan that matched like grass and lawns and Path of Exile somehow. And I was going all over the place. I was trying to be too fancy. I was even going on Chat GPT and trying to figure out, is it GPT? GTP?
GPT.
And anyway, it was coming up with stuff. I'm like, but then, Robot Ninja comes up with Tala Moana Warrior. And I was
Clever.
like, oh, that's the best. And it was so the best that when we went to PAX West, your wife made me a shirt that had that on the back of it, which was awesome, emphasizing the Mo, and it was sweet. Charlotte, one of our patrons, took it a step further last week with one of her posts on Patreon and said, Talamoana.
Ooh, well done.
My mind's getting blown. Ugh, man, this is just fantastic. Our
That is
patrons
a
are the
good one.
best.
They are
They
the
just,
best.
they just get it. They just get it. We're all like, in Dumb and Dumber, when they have the Jim Carrey's driving her in the limo at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then he's explaining it to his buddy. Oh my goodness, he's explaining it afterwards,
Mhm.
right? And he's like, it was like just a laser beam, sucked me right in, just like that perfect chemistry. You know what I mean? It's awesome. Anyway, thanks, Charlotte.
Give Tyler a
I
second
just tried
to drink.
No, well, yes. I have something to say, but I thought I really needed a coffee drink before that. And I went to go take a drink, and it was really awkward because I had the lid closed of my travel mug and nothing came out. And I thought that I was just being kind of slow in the brain and not figuring, I couldn't like
How does
remember,
this
maybe
work?
it was empty or something like that. It took me a few seconds to realize that I just needed to
So now do you need
flip
to
the
take another
switch
one?
per se. Yes, I do. Just a moment.
Well, not really per se, but you actually do need to.
I don't remember saying per se. So
Yeah, you did.
3 years ago, Mac users, you were allowed to play Path of Exile. September 18th, 2020, according to my math, you were part of the club. Welcome to the club. 3 years in. You get a pin. You can ask GGG for a pin at 5 years.
I wonder what the number comparison of Mac players versus console players is. What's
They're
more?
probably winning. I think so. But I love that the fact that it's just on console. I just want
I
them
know
to
you
do
do.
more
I'm just curious.
advertising within the platform.
Sure.
Like those free to play games, very few of them, like unless you're like crazy marketing and you have like toys out at stores and you have commercials out during a Super Bowl, like that kind of stuff. People don't know which games are free or not on consoles, and you have to advertise within the platform, within that UI itself.
Right.
And so hopefully once Path of Exile 2 comes out, they throw a whole bunch of money at both platforms, because it's only 2 platforms. Hopefully they throw it. I honestly don't know what advertising on Sony is like, but Xbox, it's like ads in a lot of places. So hopefully they do that, because it would be awesome to have
Maybe
a
they don't
strong
want
console
those players.
But Jonathan said cross-platform eventually, hopefully. That's the idea. That's the plan one day.
We'll see.
Well, before my hands give out, hopefully, because won't be able to play forever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
How's your week, bud?
I had a good week, man. I had a good
Did you?
week.
Good.
Well, we've had a crazy week just in podcast land. We've had a crazy week, and
We have seen
you've
a
had,
lot of each other this week.
and we'll keep seeing more of each other. Are we talking about next week?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had the privilege of interviewing. I know this is past tense for Justin and I, but it'll be future tense for you. But Justin and I interviewed Octavian again. We had him on the show for the third time, but this time as a GGG employee. So that's going to be next week, episode 207. And the timing worked out perfect for him being generous with his time and with our personal lives. Justin's going away on vacation next week, so we wouldn't be able to record an episode. So we typically try and do interview episodes then. And we're really thankful that it worked for Octavian then.
Yeah, it was fun.
We were talking about it during PAX West, and so we're glad it worked so soon after his long trip. And so we had that coming next week, but then we also have this coming tomorrow. This coming tomorrow, we will be with Catmaster and Baylor Mage on Fated Connections.
Yes,
that'll be a lot of fun too.
This will come out right at the end of Fated Connections, because I think 10 o'clock our time is when we're doing their thing, and we'll release at midnight, and
bang bang, eh?
Yeah, so this comes out I think right after. I imagine this will come out after. I can't imagine we're still doing Fated, because
it's so funny. So we did
hours.
Episode 207 and the 207 After Dark earlier in the week. Now we're doing 206, but we're talking about Fated Connections like it's going to happen, but you're going to hear this after it's happened. Yeah. So it's been a weird week of living in the future. Later. Pardon me?
You can listen to Fated later, but
yeah,
yes.
Of course.
Yeah, it's been a lot of...
I did it again with the coffee. I closed the lid. Anyway, keep talking.
Tyler's working on it. Yeah, it's been a very busy week. We did a lot of stuff. It's fun. We're going to do Fated tomorrow night for us, and then After Dark later on tonight, and then nothing next week. I'll be gone Monday to Friday, so this worked out better for us.
To answer your question, I had a great week. It's just been busy. It's nice to have a busy week in podcast land. It's pretty neat. And then all of a sudden we'll have 2 weeks off, and yeah, all of it's going to be tons of fun. We really like it. I just feel bad for you because you're going on vacation. And so you have 10 times more stuff to do to make sure that everything's set up so that you can go to vacation and try and actually be in vacation mode in your brain. And that's just coincidentally the same week that we have lots going on. So I had a great week. It was all normal, fantastic weather. The kids are perfect. My wife is fantastic. We still like each other, which is awesome. Even love each other sometimes. So that's pretty hip. For those that, that's all joking, of course.
They don't really love each other.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. No. We're fantastic. So no, everything's great, but there was nothing new. It's all good. Except next week, of course, is 4-day weekend already for the kids at school. They get 2 weeks in, and then all of a sudden, 4-day weekend.
Not this coming week. You mean the week after that?
No,
right?
I said next weekend.
Oh,
not this weekend. I said next weekend. You're one of those people where next weekend means this weekend?
Well, this weekend is tomorrow.
Yeah, so next weekend.
What's the day off? There's no day off.
Oh, you monkey.
Not till the one after that. It's the 30th for reconciliation.
Oh, is it 2 weeks away?
Yeah.
Well, it's been a hard month for those kids, barely doing anything
here, man.
I had plans. All right. So anyway, I'm good. Tell me about your week and coming week. I want to ask you some questions about what you're going to do at Vegas.
Yeah, my week was whatever. It was so busy. It was fun for some stuff. The podcast stuff was a lot of fun, but work is just bananas, which is annoying. But let's see. We went and saw a movie sort of this week with you guys.
Oh, so right. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think we might have talked about
movie.
that in After Dark. We went and saw Equalizer 3. Christina and I watched the first 2 Equalizers leading up to it. And then Christina and I walked out about half an hour into the movie. I'd had a really tough day that day. And then I'd had a migraine in the morning and was trying to deal with work, and then got rid of it. But you have that bruised feeling afterwards. Anyway, we went to see Equalizer with Tyler and his wife, and with Chris and Ryan, and it was I love the Equalizer movies. I love everything about it. We started watching it, and the people around us were just assholes. We had a couple in front of us that wouldn't stop talking, a couple to the left of us that wouldn't stop talking. There were 3 girls behind us, and then we tried doing the shush thing, but I just wasn't in the mood, and I was at the point where I was going to start kicking chairs, and I just leaned over to Christine. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't focus on the movie. I'm getting angry. So we left about half an hour in, and Tyler, I did find out later, Tyler went and did quiet these people down, because it was loud enough that even Tyler, who was like 6 seats away from us,
and hard of hearing,
was even hearing them talk. So yeah, that was too bad. So we're gonna have to go back and watch it another time. We haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So yeah, we did that. And then I did a lot of driving this week, and I was laughing to a guy in my office that I find it funny that when you drive, I become a much worse version.
Or people in general.
Just I find, well, maybe I'm just a one-off, but he said he was laughing that he's the same way. I become like one of the worst versions of myself as a human being when I'm driving. I say things to people in other cars that I would never say to their face. And it made me laugh while I was driving. I had to go to one of our offices for a meeting. I was driving back to my main office, and I'm driving in the car, and I tend to just chill. Like let me get in the right lane. I'm just going to relax. So I feel like when I get pushed even further, then you have done something very wrong. And it was just I was laughing to him because like at one point I said out loud in my car by myself to this guy who was driving like an idiot. I called him I think I called him a fucking piece of human garbage. And in the time that I was in the car, that felt fine, but I was laughing. That just made
sense.
Yeah, but I was laughing going like, man, I would never say that to a person's face. Like, that's terrible. But it did make me laugh. And also, I quite often will be like, I hope you crash. I hope you crash. Yep, totally. Just die in a fire. Just get out.
Yeah, all alone. Don't take anyone with you. Just rid us of your stupidity and arrogance.
Yeah. So I did a lot of driving, and then what else did I do? I was going to ask you. Okay, it's sort of related to driving. Have you seen Indiana Jones' Last Crusade?
I've seen them all except for the most recent one.
Okay, so Last Crusade, do you remember at the scene where the guy says he chose poorly after they drink from the goblet?
Yes.
And the one guy like drinks it, and then like hair starts to grow long and his face concaves in.
Oh yeah, that's like the best of 80s graphics.
Right. So I'm just wondering.
I don't even know if it was 80s, but yeah.
When Red Bull is going to fire that guy and just be done with him as part of their team. I think they call him Helmet Marko, but
but you picture him.
That's him. I picture that guy.
The bad guy seeking eternal life from the goblet of fire.
But just like the look,
not the goblet,
like
whatever it is,
sunken in faces, he's just decrepit. I'm so shocked that guy, that he's still a member of that team, and that they don't.
Why? He's so cutthroat.
He's terribly racist, and I don't think that's acceptable.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Yeah, he's made in the last year. He's made racial comments about Hamilton, and now he's made racial comments about Checo again. And it's like, I just wonder at what point do you
have time for me to quickly hit some buttons?
Sure. He made comments about Checo's lack of skill and driving competency, and associated it to his ethnicity. And I just, regardless of someone's age or whatever, I just think it's not. I think that stuff needs to be not in the sport. I don't think it's a good look for Red Bull. It doesn't sound. I don't care what his role is. If you know that that's what your guy is going to do, then stop letting him talk in public. So yeah. Anyway. But he reminds me of the guy that's dying in the Last Crusade.
I hear you. I hear you. That kind of stuff can be when it's like an ESL type of thing. They might not mean it in a certain way, but you still have to be careful of how you say things. You know what I mean?
No.
Like he could be referring to a specific demeanor or a type of attitude within the culture, but it has nothing to do with the specific individual, but he's referencing the specific individual. Yeah. Those are tricky. And you definitely, when you are in a position like he's in, you definitely need to be more careful as opposed to casual with.
Well, it's just not his first time people. Either. So like,
nope,
I don't know. It surprised me. But yeah, anyway, I was reading some of the stuff about him, and then I just was laughing to myself that he reminds me of the guy from Last Crusade. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, my week, my week was, no, it's not been great. Like it's been just really, really, really busy and frustrating and annoying work related wise, and trying to just get everything done. We're taking off Monday early. So that I'm looking forward to, except
to Vegas. Yeah.
To Vegas. But so we leave Monday morning for Vegas. So the day after this comes out, but I'm a little nervous because Vegas is under MGM and we're staying in one of the MGM hotels. They've got 40 there, but they got hit by a cybersecurity attack. And it literally took MGM's down. Like they They're just starting to try and figure it out.
Like the parent company, MGM?
Yeah. So they took down reservations, bookings, hotel key cards, ATMs, their casino, like everything. And it apparently had just happened like a couple weeks earlier to Caesars, which is another big group of, whatever. But those guys paid, it was a $15 million ransom to get their stuff back, and they paid it. But MGM said, no, they're not going to pay it. So they've been down. I think the estimate is they lose around $13 million a day that this is going on. So I'm hopeful that by the time we get there, they've got it all sorted, because I saw videos and pictures of people standing in like 4 or 5 hour lines to check in. Not happening. I'll go stay at a different hotel. There's no way I'm waiting that long to check in.
Well, I'm sure you can get your money back too.
Yeah, I would imagine so. But
have you not been able to give them a call? See what's up?
You can't call them. Their phones are down. And I can't log in. If I log into the app or try to log into my account, my reservation doesn't exist online right now. So I have my reservation email and all my info, but you can't call them. The phones don't work, and you couldn't.
But if you have to wait 15 minutes for that lineup, you're going down the street.
15 I'll do, but like multiple hours, there's no way.
But 16,
there's hotels everywhere.
Way.
I can go to a different hotel. I don't have to stay at that one. I am excited to stay at this one because it's the only non-smoking hotel on the Vegas Strip. So I'm looking forward to that, because we've been there.
Just the one?
It's the only one. Yeah. And we happen to go, they have a place called Italy. It's like an Italian open food court. It's amazing. It was so good, but we went there last year.
Portmanteaus. I can dig it.
Yeah. But when we were walking around the hotel and the casino, we were like, man, this place is really nice. Like, what's going on? And then I started to notice the signs, and yeah, they're the only smoke-free hotel and casino on the Strip. So we decided to stay there. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. My whole goal is just to check out. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I hope you do. You're not like bringing anything but your personal phone, right? You're turning it off.
I'm taking my laptop just in case, but I don't plan on using it. I kind of have to, but yeah, my hope is to not be on it. I'll have my phone, because I still do.
Good, because we need some drunk texts.
Oh, you'll get the drunk texts for sure. That's my speciality.
Yeah, well, and then Christina videotaping. Yeah. Look how old I am. Videotaping
on the VHS.
Yeah, with your camcorder. Not taping, recording. Mm-hmm. Goodness. You doing your fancy dancing with strangers, getting those grumpy people up and getting them loving.
Yep. Good. Vegas Justin, I hope you have
a great time. Are you going to put any effort into checking out the Formula One circuit that they're building?
Yeah. We saw the start of it last year, and we could see the big signs for it. So I am looking forward to seeing more of it this time, because I wouldn't ever go for it.
I'm curious how much of a long-term disruption there's going to be on that strip.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've seen videos of the paving and the stuff they've been doing there, so it will be interesting to see what it looks like now, and I'll take some pics if there's anything fun to see. But yeah,
please do.
I'm looking forward to just going away and hopefully checking out a little bit through the week. But it also, vacation always means when you come home, you're screwed. Always. Like, it just means, yeah, you had a week to just maybe chill a little bit, but also all of that stuff just sat there.
That's exactly
built up and waited for you. So,
well, you just need to hire somebody.
Yeah, it's getting close to that point. So,
I mean, that's one of the benefits of being at the bottom of the barrel. Just work in that sports department at Walmart. You show up. Okay, I'm going on vacation. You don't show up. You come on back. Nothing waiting for you except minimum wage. And it's great.
It's true. Yeah. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun trip. And I'm excited to see how, like I'm happy that we've got an episode that's queued up. That's great. Because, it's not often we get to do an interview one through a vacation period, but sometimes Tyler and I have to record. It's very rare. I think we've maybe done it less than 5 times where we've recorded out of place with an episode, but this was a good one. This was fun to sit down with Octavian and chat with him for a little over an hour and talk about life at GGG. And that was fun. So,
and he was very kind to us as well, because we obviously, when we interview people, we don't want to make it seem like we're using them to glean information from stuff. We just want to talk about them and their experiences and what they're all about. But he was kind and let us ask some PoE 2 questions, because he knows that all Uber fans have questions. And so it was funny. His attitude was, you can ask me whatever you want, but most of the answers just might be, can't tell you that.
Yeah, and Tyler and I are pretty
But
good.
he
at
was
not
very
putting
good at
people in
answering.
weird spots.
I think he only said that once or twice, and it was after partially answering a question anyway. So it was nice to glean some more information from it. He was kind enough to do that and to tell us a bit about how he's doing personally. So that was really cool. Hopefully you enjoy next week's episode.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into it. So we've kind of got like this week and last week, although I think almost everything was last week.
What happened last week? Oh, right.
We got so busy talking about PAX.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So let's fly through this. There's a hideout competition. There was season 1 of Build of the Week. That was Captain Lance. Congratulations, Captain Lance, for making Build of the Week.
Cool.
There was concept art. And we got to stop on. And there were 2 concept arts. One was the chieftains. Chieftains. English is stupid. It's spelled chieftain. The chieftain concept art, not the ascendancy. That's referring to all your buds and enemies within the trails of the ancients.
Right.
And so then there was that, and then of course they also added those chieftains as avatars, which is really cool. I like that because to me, normally I would say, that means Trails is going core, right? They're going to add that somehow to the core game, which I hope they don't. But
I hope they do.
Then, well, that's because you're dumb. But then it's also, they're just big parts of the lore. So it's not foreshadowing at all in terms of what they're planning on doing. They're all legit characters that you've heard about before. Some of them were
enemies, though. Like they had the turtle. That's not a chieftain. That's one of the enemies in the trails.
Right, yeah, but it's the chieftains that are going to be the avatars for your profile pick on the Path of Exile website.
The turtle one's in there too. That's what I'm saying.
It? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know the turtle one was in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid. You know what, though? If that's the only non-chieftain that's in there, though, that makes sense because it had this nice little version of controversy, but then also the inside jokes and all the memes that have shown up since the turtle existed. That's okay. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah. Oh, well, anyway. But I like that because GGG hasn't been on Reddit for a long time. No, it's been a long time. And
I like that.
Me too. I think they should have been like that a long time ago, but they went through a really difficult time. So I'm bringing up a specific.
I think there's a lot of people that would probably disagree with us on that because they like the era of them being really open. I think that it's fair to say, though, that it didn't go super well for them, and it's not fair to put them through that. I think Path of Exile is their website and their way of communicating with their community. And while it was nice to be able to see some of their responses, I can completely understand from a company perspective of not putting your staff into that position because unfortunately it while there is great people in there and people, love to have those conversations with them, it can be toxic. And I don't think that's fair for their staff. Nobody's, unless somebody's signing up for that as their job and understands that, humans can be awful and to not take it seriously. There's not many people that can have that thick of a skin when you have that big of a subreddit and that people can be that nasty. So while it is cool to have heard them make comments and stuff in there, I completely support the idea of them not being on there.
To me, and so the last post, because I have a Flare bookmark for GGG employees when it shows up on Reddit, so I see every comment that they make on Reddit. It's just part of my checklist to make sure that we're catching everything that GG said. And that was before they had the recently asked questions set up on the actual Path of Exile website forums. So that was one way that I went about trying to find everything that they did. But their last post, outside of Bex, people saying goodbye to Bex or anything without that, it was almost 4 months ago that an employee posted something specifically about Path of Exile on Reddit. And I think that's interesting only because Reddit's worst days were a while ago within the Path of Exile community, and the mods, who are amazing and work very hard, they're very strict. They are much better. I mean, we used to get so much hate and people that would harass us. They would follow us specifically to every single comment, cut us down, every single one. And they're very good at banning people, refusing people. Despite the fact that there's always going to be that cesspool of negativity to an extent on these types of platforms that only have mods to be able to handle them, it's been a much better community. So totally. I find it interesting that GGG pulls their staff. It seems like it because it's just been empty since then without any comments. So that they pull like a year after its worst. Like it's been getting better and better and better. And so to me, I think what that is sure, there's the benefit of protecting your staff and the mental well-being of that. That makes perfect sense. I think another part of it is just the marketing aspect. If you want to hear what GGG has to say, you go to their website. And that to me makes perfect sense. Like, for example, when Bex had her own account and the Path of Exile Twitter account, I'm talking about Twitter or X now. When she had her own X account, it didn't pull people to the company. It pulled people to her. And so now that she's no longer posting for the company, it would, in my opinion, make a lot of sense for the community to only do posts under Path of Exile's account. So that, again, there's that gradual marketing gravity to go towards your specific product, where everything is their shop, their advertisements, their promos for recent announcements, Path of Exile 2, all that on the website. And that makes sense to me.
Maybe. I can kind of see the benefit of having that community manager that is also still a bit of a voice for the fun side of it. Or, like one of the fun things with Bex is the little teases and stuff. And I don't know that I want to see that coming from Path of Exile's main account. But with regards to their general communication, I do definitely prefer the recently asked questions, the posts on their own stuff, their own Twitter. I'm not a fan of having to go to Reddit to find stuff information wise from them. So while I have to agree with you, I think that those mods on the subreddit for PoE have done a fantastic job. Like, I actually have found myself over the last number of months reading and checking Reddit way more often than I used to. And I don't know if that, I mean, maybe you could argue that it's the fact that Sanctum, the previous league, was very much liked, and I think Trails is relatively liked as well, so maybe that's why. But I still think that even in past times where there have been very good leagues, you've still had a pretty large amount of just unnecessary negativity. And it will always surprise me why someone who's just negative doesn't just not play the game and move on, I instead of posting something. But I think it's been it's been a better place to check out every now and then over the last number of months, which is a very good job to them. But I'm also fine with GGG's continuing to do their thing and not being a super big part of that.
Yeah, agreed. Mystery Box came out. Which one's it? What's this called? This is called the
Ancestor.
The Ancients Mystery Box. And
it was fun.
One thing, I love the layout of the website, the Mystery Box website. I don't know if you've actually been to it or if you're just remembering from the video, but it's really good. I love how it's laid out. I'll send it to you.
I'm looking at it right now.
Well, just how it's laid out. It has the video up top, but then it has moving pictures or GIFs of what it actually looks like in game.
Oh, maybe you're seeing something different than me then.
Yeah, okay, I'll send it to you quick.
Because I'm on their post about the Ancestor Mystery Box, and it's got the video up top and the click here to purchase. Oh, click on the full details. Oh, okay.
There's one that says /mystery box.
Yep.
Okay, it's okay. I sent it to you. All right.
Yeah,
it's like taking care of a grandparent that doesn't know how to use the internet. So anyway, but I really, really like it. Looks really good. The snow collar stuff looks amazing. I'm always a fan. I know I'm playing a fantasy game and I'm shooting monsters and I have like icicles skills coming from the ground and I'm raising zombies. But for some reason, I still like realistic stuff. And so any MTX where it actually looks realistic, those are my preferences for sure. Love it. So the snow collar thing looks really, really awesome.
A great layout for the website. Like to see a detailed. I mean, the funny thing is, no matter what, this stuff's all random, so you're not like picking the one that you're going to get. But
all
it's
mystery
cool to
boxes. See it. Agreed. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but the thing that I do like about this is, for me, I'm not a mystery box guy. I see stuff that I really want. If I get a free mystery box, fine. But to me, they're too expensive, and I'm not really into the gambling thing. Like to me, I'd rather support them in a way where I know what I'm getting. I'd rather just buy points and then wait for something that interests me for the mood I'm in, as opposed to throw money at something and then get a stupid hideout decoration. I know other people like that stuff. I don't care. But so I love this because these all go core at some point, core in the store, right? Like it's like, oh, okay, it's been, in the next league 2 months after, I forget when, but so I do quite like it a lot, Yeah.
Man, there are some good portals. Holy crap.
Yes, there are. But I want to shout out I like it when they use humor in their posts, humor in their patch notes, and of course, humor in their videos. I forget who the person is, or unless they've changed it, but whoever it was that was in the video that talked about the back attachment for the demon graphs, those are the two arms, how they were been juicing. Yeah, I just love it. That kind of stuff makes me laugh for sure. Another one that I really liked was the rare finisher.
Yeah, you know what's unfortunate with this website though? Like, it is really cool, but you can't actually swap between the different ones to see them. Like, so the rare finisher is only showing the anchor, but I can't see like what does the shark one look like without going back into the video. But that is
and I didn't even know until I went through this website. There's a Dragonfire rare finisher.
I know,
but to me, I like pirate stuff. So I got the parrot, right? Because pirate and all that kind of stuff. So I would only want the anchor. Well, maybe the shark. The shark would be pretty awesome too. I wouldn't want the black hole. It depends how long it stays in the ground, because all celestial stuff on the ground, that's pay to lose. You can't see anything. It covers everything that's important, like all your damage.
I love that we talk about that, and then they're like, hey, here's a ring to put it everywhere.
Right. Yeah. Now this one I love, the map device.
Oh, the timer one? Yeah, that
one's the best, because not only does it keep time. Now, I was watching Catmaster. Catmaster got the time portal, and he got some mystery boxes from GGG. And so he was opening them up, and he got one of the timekeeper map devices.
Okay.
And it was cool because it only counts when you're in the map. Right. So if you come back to your hideout and you're doing stuff, the time stops.
Okay,
it's awesome. But it's so great. Whoever it was at GGG that did this, you are great. You are great. And then whoever approved this, you are great also, but almost as great as the person that came up with the idea. When you're in the map, you see the timer.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's around your skills or above your skills, or whatever the help buttons are. Just the best. It's not in the way. It's not anywhere, but I love stats. That's just me. I love it. I always say
trials, Ty.
but it's casual. Like, I'm a baseball guy. You go to the MLB.com and you're just looking at one player. The amount of stats there will either make you close the website or get an erection. It's amazing. Like, there's just, there's two different kinds of people in this world. There's stats people, and
I think you could be in the middle. I think it's okay.
There's not. So, but I just love that, because that's not important to me at all. You know me, I'm a slow player, but I would love to know how long it took me in a map. With the amount of like extremely difficult mods I'm setting up for my low damage builds, and this, like, the other day I was mapping and I wasn't paying attention. It's like in the old days when I would forget in the Wasteland boss fight, where he basically does his own kind of consecrated ground because he gains the boss, I forget his name, gets life regen when he's standing in his own caustic clouds. I would never, being low damage builds, never put extra monster life on as a map mod, right? Increasing monster life or more monster life that was a recipe for disaster for that map, because I would never be able to kill him. And so in this map, I had, I forget if they were sextants or map mods or what, but it was like 45% more monster life or boss monster life. There was consecrated ground that the bosses do. That might have been an altar. It was just like, there was so much stuff, and I'm looking and I'm like, but there was a red beast right next to a ritual, right next to a boss, right in channel. And I'm like, channel's boss isn't tough. Like, that's fine. Like, but I can't do anything. And I just wasn't paying attention to the map mods. But it would be fun to see how long I'm trying for. You know what I mean? Because I probably try for half an hour sometimes, thinking that it's only 10 minutes. So if I see, oh my goodness, I've already been 20 minutes. All right, I'll cut this a little early. To me, that's pay to win when it comes to my time. And I'm all for it. So I am hands down buying that as soon as it comes into the store.
I want some of the Harbinger portal effects, and the trapdoor was fun too, but those Harbinger portal effects, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Oh, I wonder though, with the trapdoor, I never saw anybody use it. I wonder if the spider drags you in. You know what I mean? Like, so when you click on the portal, cool. If the spider like eats you and drags you under, and you're like, no!
Yeah, they never clicked it.
Monica.
I don't know. That would be pretty sweet. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I don't want any of those rings.
Where are the rings?
The paint, you can put like blood, magma, or stars on the ground.
Oh, those are way down there. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's just, I don't know. That's just to be goofy in town, I guess. But to go back to your portal,
into a new town, because I don't want to be in a town with someone doing that.
Oh man, so sometimes, especially on console, you have like towns are laggy. They are just like the game is not made for a bunch of people with their MTX having a good time.
No, it's
the
obviously made
MTX
to
seem to be
advertise.
designed for when you're in your hideout and chilling out. So when all those people, it reminds me of Heist. The very first time Heist, it was the laggiest town
Heist
when you went to the Heist town, and they had to disable that for a while because they just then so yeah, it is. But to go back to your Harbinger, those 4 Harbinger portals are so different and they all look amazing.
I want the one that's the hardest to get.
Which one's the hardest
Sun
one?
Prism.
Let's see. Yeah,
Sun
that's
Prism
sexy,
Harbinger.
man.
It just looks so good.
That's like what tie-dye shirts should look like.
Yeah.
Sun Prism. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed. Last time they had a mystery box, I think it was the last time, they started going back to the aura specific, like skill specific aura effects. They went away from that a long time ago. Like, for example, I bought the Clarity aura effect when nobody used it, except for me because I liked it. But then I was able to use it on anything eventually. And now they're going back to now you have a specific clarity, specific precision, specific vitality. It's kind of like all over the map again. Yeah. You can only use them with the one. And I forget, I think it was the last mystery box where they did something similar to other ones. I forget, but I don't like that. I liked it when they went and just made it open.
What was the one for this that was specific to a skill?
This one, Ghoulish Clarity, Ghoulish Vitality, Ghoulish Precision.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, I remember liking it being aura specific back in the day and not wanting it to go to any aura because I liked when I was watching someone.
Yeah, you knew what they were running.
And that's right. I knew what they were doing. But now I could use that clarity effect that I use. That's my favorite one. The old clarity one is like 7 years old. But that's my favorite aura effect. It doesn't get in the way. It just looks neat. It's just spinning around me, but it's not visually demanding. And I like using that on everything. But it was also nice when I went to go see a streamer and I saw that. I'm like, oh, I love that one. Dang, I gotta have to get clarity in my build just so I can use that. So I'm torn with it. But yeah, that Sun Prism Harbinger, pretty awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
What else? What about the rain? Whenever you trade or do a transaction, stuff
funny
falls
to watch.
Down. Yeah, interesting that they
like that they had to specify that you can't pick it up in the video.
Right. But then they also there's the transmute, chaos, and exalt, but no divine or mirror.
I think they haven't caught up to the idea that divines are better than exalts yet. I think they're still in the old, way where exalts were better.
Because I still prefer exalts as a solo self-found player. I still prefer exalts.
Sure.
With the exception of what the crafting bench does. Like the only thing I really care about divines for is
they're great for trading.
Or crafting, but yeah. So anyway, that was a big one with a lot of likes for me. So that one was definitely worth the long shout out for me because that was pretty awesome. Okay. Massive amount of patches, but we're going back 2 weeks now, right? We went all the way back from like we didn't get to chat about the 0.1 patch. So I know that's old news for everybody except for you and I, or I guess old news for us too, but we a lot of changes happened in the 0.1 fix, but then also in the 0.1b for both console and PC. It was there was lots and lots. So why don't we quickly? Oh yeah, the pictures from Gamescom and PAX West were really cool. I thought it would have been awesome to be like one of those people in the background that knew a picture was being taken, but you like try and hide in the background. You're doing something goofy, like flexing or picking your nose. And they didn't quite see you and you get posted on it, but nobody was doing anything like that. So just quickly, because I guess the 0.1 patches are going to be a big deal. The Titanic shell was changed from all the issues that people were complaining about before. And from the RAQ, it says, people were asking, why are you not fixing that the Titanic shell is able to protect its own totem? I think we talked about this already, but GGG
it might have been after dark. We did touch on some of this because I brought a couple ideas up last episode while we were quickly just glancing over it, just the things that actually mattered to me. But we did talk about that, about what they said in the RAQ.
So yeah, it was just that the Titanic shell was always designed to protect its own. So we've modified other stats, but it is designed to protect its own totem as well.
Well, I played a bit this week, and specifically to play the trails and see some of the changes that they've made. And the Titanic shell is, I guess it's better. It's definitely better than what it was, in the sense that it can take damage a little bit better. But I still feel like it shouldn't protect its own totem, for one, and take more damage from who? Because as you get up further into the tiers, I don't do damage, and I'm friggin' bone shatter. Like it's weird to me. Like I'm not doing. It's not like I'm the one doing most of the damage in a trail when I'm running through one. And it's one of the things I'll talk. We can talk about it when we get into our week in PoE, because I am still struggling.
Go for it now, because we're probably not going to get there. This patch is huge, so throw in your stuff whenever you want.
Well, I struggle a little bit to understand what this. I love the idea of the trials. I think they're very fun. I actually really do like it. I would like to play more of them, but I'm starting to realize that I shouldn't be playing my build for it. If I wanted to just focus on playing the trials, I need to make something new. I need to make something that's fast. I need to make something that has very high evasion, and it doesn't work for a very high armor heavy jug, because you're still getting one shot and you're still getting stunned while you're working on the totems. And when you get up there in the tiers, you don't do damage. You just don't. I don't do damage. Even fighting some of the basic mobs that run around, like the little ones that aren't anything special, like a bird or a boar, I can kill them, but they're going to take me quite a bit of time. So I struggle a little bit with this whole TotA thing, because I wanted to be more of the fight. I wanted to be more part of the fight versus like a distraction, or like a totem rushing build that's just trying to, like I've watched a couple people and how they play and what they do, because I was curious. You and I talked about it maybe a week or two ago, and I said that I felt like I needed to make something that was more evasion based and just faster. So I was curious to see what people have been playing in it, and it seems like there's a big focus on, let's throw a void sphere out and use something with some knockback, and then go fast in evasion and just run around and work on getting the totems down. And I think that would be like a fine way to play, and it would probably be fun. But then it requires me to run something else, because with the jug, the bone shatter jug, I don't have crazy movement speed. I got to leap slam around to get around from place to place. I will get hit by everything. You know what I mean? Like I have 0% chance to evade or dodge. I'm not going to, just because of my build. I will get hit by every single thing. I just can negate damage. That's the way that the jug works. But the way that armor works is on lots of small hits. And these guys do massive hits. So my armor is almost not doing anything. Like I'm still getting, even with the changes they've made, I think they're called like Guardians of Night or whatever. That's still a one shot. Spear Dancer is still, if they hit me with a spear, that's chunking at least half of my health and then stunning me if I was in the middle of it. So I'm probably in a bit of trouble. And then a lot of off screen, like so much off screen, which is so frustrating because you can't see it. You just have no, and based on the way that they position the camera, if I'm doing one of the totems at the bottom of the map, I actually can barely see anything at the top, just because of the way that the cameras position your character. So I really do like this league. I love this league mechanic. I want to play it more, but I felt this week that if I was going to do that and enjoy it, I need to play something different. And I'm not sure that that's different from other league mechanics. Like if I think about Heist, when I played Heist really heavily into Heist, I built around the idea of playing in Heist. I had a character that phased all the time, was super, super fast, and you can play it in any mode if you want to. But if you wanted to min-max it, then you went into a different one. I think the difference I found, though, is if I played Heist or Delve or Legion, whatever these leagues are that tend to have a better way, like Legion was definitely a clear, you needed to play something that had some ability to clear large amounts, right? If you wanted to maximize a Legion, you could do it with any build, but you could maximize it with a specific build. And I think maybe TotA's in that category, except that sometimes I actually feel like I can't succeed in some of it, because if I'm against a chieftain that's got a lot of ranged guys, I'm in a lot of trouble because it's off screen and every single projectile will hit me. No matter what, it will hit me because I can't evade anything. And blocking it or whatever doesn't mean anything because you're still stunned from doing your channeling. So I kind of feel like I do wish that TotA was more me involved in the fight. I would much rather play defense and actually fight around mine and then let my team go and do what they're doing. But you can't. You just can't. I think I'm only at like 700 or 800 in ranking, but it's very, very often where their hits are one shots or very close to one shots. So
yeah, it's too bad because this isn't a game where I remember in Assassin's Creed 1, that was a very monotonous game, but you end up earning like 4 major abilities that you end up using at the end. But because of how it progresses and you only end up assassinating 9 something major targets, you know, you're finally unlocking your build close to the end and you don't get to use your full abilities for the majority of the game. It's only for the last 1 or 2 major kills. By the end of the game, it's more story based than anything. They don't let you use anything that you've done to create your character. Not like you're creating your character, but everything you've unlocked, everything that you've been excited for, everything that you've been playing for to use. Instead of, you know, jumping and stabbing or hiding, you walk around in the complete open. It's the complete opposite of the normal gameplay of why you bought it. And you walk around with this globe and you go and you knock around. It was the complete opposite of gameplay. It had nothing to do with anything that I had loved in the game up to that point. It was neat for story, but that was it. And I get the impression that that's what this is too. Not saying people don't like it. Every league, like you said, there's leagues that are for some people and leagues that aren't for some. But this seems like once you get to that point, if everyone else is experiencing what you're experiencing as well, like if it's designed to be more of a one-shot mechanic, it seems like it's like that. You do all of this theory crafting for your character, and then it means nothing. You are playing a game that has nothing to do with all of the different theory crafting you can do on the tree with your items, with which ascendancy you choose, what your items that you're equipping are, and the mods and all that extra stuff. Like you're not really applying any of that love of Path of Exile to the game, to the league mechanicums. So hopefully the next one's a big twist away from that. The next league, whatever 324 is going to be. This kind of stuff isn't for me. Like, I don't even like stuff like Blight. I know a lot of people like Blight. Blight's not my kind of thing. Sanctum's not my kind of thing. Like this, I like being my character and what it's supposed to be, and then using that within the game mechanic. So I totally hear where you're coming from. I mean, I'm barely playing the league mechanic now, but I know, you know, just in terms of what you've described, how you're feeling.
I think it's okay for a league to have where you to min max it. You got to build around it. I don't like that. That's kind of
I completely agree.
A lot of different leagues have been that way. I think this is just one where it's actually a little bit like Sanctum, actually, in that regard, where
very much
at least Sanctum. I've done one Sanctum this league with the new changes, but where yes, any build can play it, but if you're not relatively focused on that, you're going to struggle. Sanctum was, very, very much like that. If you were a slow, tanky character, good luck. You're never getting through Sanctum. I get that they've made that a little bit better, which it was. I did one Sanctum and it was definitely better. But I feel like this is sort of in that same boat. And maybe that is fine. That's just the nature of some leagues, that the league mechanic is going to require you to focus a little bit more on that league mechanic if you want to play it. But it's a weird mechanic to me to not get to feel like I'm part of the fight. And I find that I think that's the part I'm struggling with understanding the most, is that I've got a tanky jug bone shatter that loves to smash and hit things. And I'm just leap slamming around because everything will one shot me or chunk half my health in a single hit. And that's, in a game where there's just so much clutter, you can't see sometimes when a boss is about to do a certain move. It's really tough to figure out what's happening. So I don't know. I really, really like Trials. I think it's very fun. I would love to play in there way more often. I do have the coins for it, but I just don't feel like I think I'm wasting my time trying to do it with my jug versus just rolling something else. And unfortunately, I just don't have the time to roll something else right now. But I would really, really like to spend a good 2 or 3 hours just playing in it with a build that I had focused on it because I think it would be quite a bit of fun.
The rewards are really hard to deny. So even though I don't like that there's a focus on like that, it's like old school games where only certain builds can be very efficient at the game content. That's kind of disappointing. I get that it's like that. This one seems pretty extreme with that. Not as balanced as I would hope, but it is difficult when you see the rewards that people get, even the rewards you get at lower tiers, like when I'm at, they're just going to get better. Like, it's really difficult to not be like, okay, I got to play outside my element here. I'm not going to enjoy my character, but I'm really going to enjoy the rewards.
Yep. And and they added a bunch of new ones. I'm sure you're going to get to them, but like I got a tattoo that lets you just add a keystone. It just changes a keystone. And so I'm right by blood magic. My path goes right along blood magic. So I'm like, I'm going to try this. I didn't realize later that those things are worth like 190 chaos each. I tried it twice. They apparently sell quite well, but I never got anything good. I think I got the agnostic.
Oh, it's a random keystone?
Yeah, but you have to actually assign the keystone first. So I would respec 1 point out just because I'm only 1 point away, so it was no big deal. So pull 1 point out of, I don't remember what, and then throw it into blood magic, and then apply the tattoo to blood magic, which then changed it. The very first one I got, I can't remember what the very first one I got, but it wasn't useful to me. So then you unspec it, and it stays as whatever it just changed to, right? So then I got another one of those the next tournament I did. So I was like, oh, cool, I'll try this again. So that's when I realized they were 180 chaos. I was like, whatever. Then you have to assign it again. So I reassign it, then roll it. And I got one, and then I got agnostic. They were none that actually helped me, but that is kind of fun. Like, it's cool to, if in your build, you're only one keystone away or 1 point away from a keystone, to just randomly try, because you may get a keystone that you would love to have somewhere else that just happened, that you just get lucky and rolls into that spot. That's fun.
It's like a lower tier version of, now I haven't unlocked any of these, but when you can get that 5th ascendancy node from comparing, I don't remember what it's called, but when you do both of the X arches or whatever they are, and then you get, what is it, an amulet?
No, it's I can't think of the word either. Yeah, it's a jewel, but it goes,
and then you have to have the same
2 parts
ascendancy from both to get. Yeah, see, I know stuff. So anyway, but it seems like that, but cheaper version, you know what I mean?
And it's just random. That's the big difference. In those ones, you know what you're getting because it's rolled on the jewel itself, and you have to have both parts. This is, you just apply it and wait and see what you happen to get. Like, the tattoos themselves are very cool. I love the tattoos. Like I said, I really like trials. I think my biggest overall, if I had to say anything about it, was that I wish I could be part of the fight. And that's how it felt in the beginning. When I first started into it, I could do the fighting, I could do the defending. But as you progress up into the tiers, it's like, all right, I'm kind of just eye candy. I may as well just run around and get them to come chase me.
You are some good looking eye candy.
And if that is the girl, if that's the way it's supposed to be, then that's fine. But then I need to, if that is the case, I just can't play it with my character, and that is a little bit too bad, because I would rather just do the fights.
I want tattoos to go core, but not this. Kind of like how I wish oils could go core without blight.
Man, blight though with the new Alice is so much fun.
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
So we're already at almost an hour unedited, but we haven't even touched the patch yet.
Well, we just did.
Massive. So let's
tell me what you thought about the patch, because there wasn't too much that I cared about.
I got lots, but I can also fly through it. One thing that, now I don't know what it's like in Sony land, but in Xbox land, I love how quick the patches come out. PC gets a patch, boom, Xbox gets it right away. So however they're doing it, whatever that communication is, it's very efficient. I love it. GGG, please keep it up. So 0.1, and then the patches after, lots of fixes after. I'm so impressed with GGG this time around, because they went through all that. Maybe they have more hands on deck now that ExileCon is done, because there are so many fixes coming in over and over and over. Now, and we're already a month into it. Normally, this is when they're normally like, okay, now we're done. And this is where you start getting your patch silence for the most part. Still some smaller major things if it needs to be done. But this is now when they start working on their new game, right? This is when they're like cutting everything out, focusing on 324. And these fixes, these lists are massive. Like, my first point just says so many changes. Like, quote unquote, now it's the official league launch, right? Like it's nice and working forward and looking good. They improved the behavior of Trail of the Ancestor. Oh yeah, okay. Trail of the Ancestor warriors that are attacking and flanking, so they target enemies better when no totems are targetable. So that's nice. AI is a little bit smarter. They added a forfeit match button.
Yep, I saw it.
So
I did use it
to that
once.
You did or did not?
I did. I've used it one time.
Okay. Loser. What else? They added an indicator above the character that displays your revive progress.
Yeah, it's a cool little blue skull.
Progress bars.
Just goes in a circle.
Skull with a little timer.
Goes in a circle, yeah.
So it's not like a time.
You don't get an actual time. You just see the thing filling up as it works its way around. You still can't look throughout the map, which is too bad, but
that is really weird that they don't treat it like your mini map when it's big and you can use the arrow keys to scroll around. Did you know that you can't do that on console?
Oh, really?
You can't move around your map. You can only bring up the big map, but you can't move it around.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'd love for them to add that. Oh, whoever messaged passed the test. Whoever's messaging. Well,
not really. You're doing it.
But I heard it. But okay. It wasn't.
But it didn't catch his
something
attention.
You have to edit out. No, it's not something you have to edit out. That's the point. So people, for those that are listening, when people on Discord see that Justin and I are in the podcast recording channel, sometimes they'll message and see if I turned on my D&D properly, because my phone dings when I get app messaged
which it
on
hasn't
Discord.
yet, which is impressive.
I remembered to put my computer sound to my headphones. It's not coming through the speakers, so Justin has nothing to edit out. But now
well done.
This whole little blurb probably took longer than it took for Justin to edit it out. So anyway, forfeit much the skull above the thingy. Ancestor totems are now visually repaired if they are healed.
I'm hoping there's some fix coming to that, because that's not working properly. When I was playing, I was seeing ones that were like fully, they didn't look like they'd even been touched, but yet they were like a click and a half away from being broken. So I'm not sure if something's just wrong with that, but
so now it's working in the opposite direction. Now you can't tell how damaged they are when you're doing that.
No, you
can't. What else? Visually repaired. Some warriors had both high life and energy shield, making them too tanky, so I guess they changed that. Lowered the favor cost of the following warriors, and then they listed some. The spear dancer has had their damage lowered by 30%-ish, and the range with which they use their skills has been lowered by roughly 33%-ish. So that's nice. That's though one reason that I'm like, I know people are excited to play PoE 1 after PoE 2 comes out. There's obviously going to be a lot of blending or osmosis that goes between the two, right? Because it'll have even Steven at some point. Whatever is in PoE 2 that can be added to PoE 1 probably will be. But until off-screen stuff changes, like I have zero interest in playing Path of Exile 1 because there's still so much that I hate, like the apathy of off-screen damage, that Path of Exile 2 is going to be my only game. If I get back into guide writing, it's going to be PoE 2 only.
I am going to be shocked if they can pull that off. If they can pull off no off screen, like completely no off screen. I would love it, because even them talking about it's been lowered by 33%, doesn't matter. It's not enough. I'm playing on a freaking ultra wide monitor. I'm still getting like a freaking, I'm trying to like watch, because sometimes the spear is just like,
well, you have nothing else to do but watch, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that. We mentioned the Titanic Shell Warrior a little bit. Its life was lowered by 20%, and it now takes more damage when it's protecting totems.
Yeah,
that's an interesting.
It's still unfortunate that it's more damage from the other NPCs. I think the second point about it respawning slower is better, so that, because what I did in one of my fights was I had to work on all the other totems, and then because in a group fight, a Titanic Shell is protecting 5 totems, which means all 5 of those totems are respawning. Anytime one of those mobs dies, it's going to respawn, which means I can't really be in the middle of that fight because there's too many things that are going to one-shot, especially because they're always tied in with a freaking Goliath at night or something. So all I'm doing is throwing my totems up that have call, waiting to get close, and then hiding by the totem that I know is the Titanic Shells, because at least now with that 50% respawn timer, I've got time to break the totem before he respawns.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they only take more damage when they're protecting the totems. You put the turtle as a flanker, and you got a long battle ahead of you. Improve the behavior of chieftains when a player isn't in range of them. They are now mean killing machines. That's an interesting thing. I don't know who would know or not know if they were being strong. If they're off screen, you can't see anything. So but I appreciate that. Like if that was GGG finding that out on their own, I appreciate that. I mean,
how did they find out though? Did they get the look over there?
It's how right. To me, that's how it should launch. You got to make sure that that's working properly. But it's nice that it's there. I appreciate the humor of them being lean, mean killing machines. General improvements, which are almost all bug fixes. They just probably accidentally put them there. Loading screens are apparently working better. There was a few console specific changes as well to how the game loads. There were quite a few times where the game would load for me after, so I would hear the noise, but I'd still be on the loading screen with the gears changing, and my screen wouldn't show up. Like I wouldn't be able to play until after my invulnerability phase was up. So I started taking damage before I could even see the screen. That's how it took that extra 10 seconds. So hopefully that's better. So this one was really interesting to me. This is a general improvement, this one. And it's the timing's so interesting. Exploding orb monsters now spawn only a single exploding orb when emerging from a rare monster with the modifier. The audio for the exploding orb has also been changed to telegraph this better. But that's interesting to me because that's just out of nowhere. That's not league specific, content specific. That's just at some point they decided, okay, 3-4 orbs from whatever it is, that's just too much. We're just going to make it one. I thought that was the timing's interesting, out of nowhere, wherever that conversation comes from, or who knows, maybe they decided 4 months ago that this was a change they were going to do and it just ended up getting done now. But interesting on the timing because it seems to be out of nowhere. It's how many years after they introduced these exploding orbs as modifiers? That would have been arch nemesis, I think. They always had on kill stuff, but anyway, I love it. It's less terrifying, and for some reason, it's easier to see.
What they didn't tell you is they increased the damage by 10 times.
Yeah, that's right. Guaranteed one-shot modifier. No, but it's interesting because now I see it better. You would think that when there's 4 of them chasing you or 3 of them that you would see it better. But to me now, because they don't show up as often and there's a lot less up there, they stand out more. So the visuals haven't changed, but because there's a lot less going on above the enemy's heads, as soon as one of them shows up, I'm like, oh crap, I see it so much easier now. It's so much easier to avoid, which I like. Before, it seemed like there was always something above the enemy's heads, and I wouldn't notice it until they were right above me.
Well, I think too, with regards to that, it's nice to have a single one because what would happen is maybe the first one came out and you would notice it, but the other ones were delayed or a bit behind or whatever. And so there was always this annoyance of being like, is there more? Do I need to keep moving? So I like that. It's a good change. I didn't even notice that one.
Agreed. Yes. And it is, the eventual goal grinding gear games is to have no on death effects. Dead is dead.
That's not going away.
I'm excited for my loot. Do not kill me while I am identifying stuff if there are no enemies around. But baby steps. I appreciate them looking into it at all and thinking about me. So
they're going to be like, next patch, we didn't like that change. There's now 12 of them.
Yeah.
They come out at a delay.
That's right. It's not a general improvement anymore. It's under the FU section. So this one's weird. Meters. Ranged weapons displayed on weapon range displayed on melee weapons and other descriptions that use ranges with values now instead use meters. The reminder text for close range and the description of presence range, maybe I copied that wrong, in the character panel also now use meters. Now,
where's the legend that shows me, on a map where it's like a distance, I see 2 little ticks and they're like, this represents 1 meter.
Right. That's cool, but it means nothing if I don't know what 1 meter on the screen looks like.
Yeah, you kind of
have
to
I need to
guess.
see that in game. There's no point. You can call it units, you can call it feet, you can call it inches, you can call it
anything. Make up a word. It doesn't make.
Yeah, wraeclast feet. I don't know, but what does it matter if in the game, not in a third-party tooltip, if it's in the game, then it matters. So,
I mean, it's cool in
Neat.
the sense that it does now give you an actual number, which maybe you could make a better guess at. But I agree with you. I don't actually know. Does my wraeclast character have normal size arms? And so can I guess that his arm sticking out is roughly a meter? So I got some guess, or, you know, is he a monkey? And he's, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the situation is. So
and I love that it's meters, of course. They're metric, we're metric. So I like that. But every time I think of that, because I still remember some old school posts about like, back in like the beginning of Path of Exile days, you go back to an old post trying to find some information, then you see some of the comments below and it's like, oh, you spelled favorite wrong, or you spelled this wrong. But it's, you know, it's just, you know, somebody not seeing the difference. Right. Exactly. So, but I like this because I always think of Farva from Super Troopers, like a liter of cola.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just look like spit to you. So anyway, like that, auras supported by the Guardian Blessing support now persist in areas after changes. So now they stay on just like normal auras. And the one thing I like is the aura stays on. So I have an aura with linked to Guardian's Blessing with my Chaos Golem, or no, my Stone Golem, whatever, Golem. Now it's still leveling. I added that quite late. So I started at level 1. So it's still dying every now and then. When it dies, the aura stays on. Now, it's not impacting anything unless there's a glitch. Like it stays activated. So the only thing I need to do to reactivate the aura is bring the golem back.
Right.
If the golem dies, the aura still per se is activated. It's not like in the game. It's still like it's off, but I don't have to hit 2 buttons after I summon my golem. I just have to summon my golem again. I love that because now let's say you're using the elementalist with your golems, and you know they're all dead. You don't have to wait. You don't have to hit and reactivate the aura again. It just stays on, and as soon as that golem respawns, boop, you get that aura back on, and I love that. So really cool, awesome change there. This one we laughed about, we talked about. I think we've talked about it now in our last, like, I brought it up at the end of what is this, 206? So I brought it up at the end of 205. We joked a bit about it, I think, with Octavian, and we joked a bit about it in the AD 207 as well. But added text to summon Raging Spirit to the description to clarify that minions convert all physical damage to fire. And thank you to everyone in Discord that shouted it out to me. It's fun to be thought of with that change. I think it's hilarious that the change finally came. I love that it finally came. It's so weird that skill has been around. Like, it doesn't matter to me right now with this conversation. Like, now it's 100% physical conversion to fire. Before it was 50% fire conversion to fire, which to me, it's even more important at that stage for that description to be there. SRS has been around. When has this been around? It's like a 6-year-old skill. Let me see quick. If the wiki is correct, this skill was added to the game in League 1.0.6.
Yep, that makes sense. It's been around.
It's been around for a long time. What league was that? That was 2014. That was January 29, 2014. So we're 9 years later.
Good things come to those who wait, Ty.
And now they're adding. So I get that there's system and process and things are more important. But to me, there needs to be a checklist of things that have to be done to make a skill valid in the core game. Like when you're putting a skill in the game, this stuff needs to be done.
Did it always convert?
Always.
Well,
I never played in one.
Yeah. Okay.
I never played in one, but even if it's 50%, you still have to say.
Agreed. I'm agreeing with you.
So it's just crazy. Like, and so now this is funny. So now let's say like the company's like, okay, no, we have to make sure that these checklists are done for all of our skills. I mean, Herald of Agony, right? That's a 60% chaos conversion, physical to chaos conversion. It's not 100%. And then there's other skills as well. Like, it's weird that, so anyway, hopefully they're going through and this person has been given this task. Oh,
I'll tell you why. I
can't wait.
Because they're working on the Witch right now in PoE 2. And in that process of working on these new classes, as they bring over skills from PoE 1 into PoE 2, maybe they're noticing stuff and they're going, some person who's working on PoE 2 is like, is this missing something? And then they're like, oh shit, yeah, let's make that change.
You know what? I thought you were going to be a dick when you answered.
No.
I think you might be right. Not like we would know, but that's a fantastic way to go about. No, I just thought you were going to be like, F minion players, that's why. That's what I thought your response was going to be.
No.
So No, I think
Turd.
that's a fantastic answer. Good for you.
Like maybe they're just, as they're processing some of this stuff, they're realizing things that were missed. Because, you know, we talk about, you know, even I think we talked a little bit with Octavian about it, but the idea of people writing bugs and writing fixes and stuff. In the end, Path of Exile is a monstrous game with limited resources for humans that work on it. So some stuff is going to get missed. And while I agree with you, it shouldn't take 9 years or whatever it is for stuff to get fixed, I think it is possible that stuff slips through and just gets missed, and maybe this is giving them a chance to look over some of the more, at least at what we feel like is a little more basic stuff of like, hey, this should probably be in the description of the skill.
True. I've written that bug report though like
sure
6 times. It's not just one and I'm waiting. It was like once a year I am writing that bug report. I don't even play SRS anymore.
I'm obviously speaking about this out of turn because this is going to come up in episode 207. But when we talked about bug fixes with Octavian, when you listen to 207 next week with Octavian and you hear us talking about the bug fix section, just know at that point, I was dying inside to be like, do you guys know who Tyler is? Like, are you ignoring him purposefully? But I didn't say anything. But that was on my mind the whole time. I was I was also worried that Tyler was going to be like, excuse me.
I was just gonna like rage on Octavian and send him to the hospital with my visual stare down.
It's so funny. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no. So anyway, awesome that it's finally added. I think your response to that is perfect. I hope that's the case. So TotA with your Howag, hopefully that's coming. Though, wouldn't that be heartbreaking if you have a favorite skill
just being removed?
Well, see, I was just gonna joke. Wouldn't that suck if your favorite skill didn't make the game? Like, to me, I'm a zombie player. It's sucked for forever, right? Except with the exception of like the first 3 leagues after the Baron unique came out, nobody plays zombies. And when they do now, they only play with the Baron. I might be the only person on the face of the planet that likes zombies without the Baron, but it's still so weak. It still doesn't even make sense with like it. You get it act 1, like right at the beginning after killing Hillock, and you don't even get desecrate until later. Like, you can't even use it as a primary skill despite the fact they offer it. So it's such in a weird place and so neglected, in my opinion, that I was nervous that zombies just weren't going to exist in the game, or they would change it completely because it doesn't seem loved or cared for. It's like, you know, how Tyrion Lannister felt as a part of the Lannister family. That's how I feel that zombies feel in this game. But then that was the most mentioned skill at ExileCon, just because of how they were referencing spirit. Zombies were talked about more than any other skill, just because it was the perfect example to how spirit worked. And so that was relieving to me because, okay, sweet, I'm just going to have to figure this out. It's going to be great. But they mentioned zombies. They got to be in the game. It would suck if something like Howag, which is a much more complicated and fun skill, would actually not be in the game. What else? You can now sell items to Divinia at the entrance of the Forbidden Sanctum. Excellent. Awesome. Perfect. I kind of wish you could do that with Jun as she was in maps. I know it doesn't make sense because now you have a vendor in maps, and that's a completely different situation to what you're doing within Sanctum. But anyway, so yeah, controller specific changes, all of it quality related in terms of loading screens and frame rate and all that good stuff. Good Ruthless changes as well for those that love Ruthless. Rishi, we love you. And yeah, then just bug fixes galore. So good for you, GGG. There's an astronomical amount of changes, all very much appreciated. We think you are fantastic. Dang, we didn't even get to our stuff in PoE land. Might have to push that. We're already at an hour 20. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Sanctum's not, this surprised me, but maybe I just don't know about, excuse me. Maybe I just don't know enough. I ignore Sanctum. I don't care about it. I don't find the gameplay fun. So when I get the items, whatever they're called, the books or whatever that let me go into it, I do not care. I just put them on the store. Why isn't Sanctum on the Atlas passive tree? I expected it to be on the passive tree with some of the changes that they made with keystones. And so I'm like, you know what? I wonder, maybe I would like Sanctum if, you know, there's something on the Atlas passive tree that changed it. And I was like, looking around, there was nothing.
I don't know
There's absolutely nothing.
I don't know that you could.
But it's odd to me that maybe I'm out to lunch. But even like technically non-league mechanics, stuff that isn't like, sorry,
I get where you're coming from.
There's extra content that, like, as an official term, there's extra content. Sanctum's that. It's the only league mechanic that I can think of that isn't on the Atlas passive tree.
But Sanctum is still taking you outside of the mapping experience, just in the same way that there's no things that affect while you're in a delve. There's no things that affect when you're in a ravage or a blighted map. There's no things that affect when you're in heist. They affect the mapping experience of those leagues, but they don't affect the league mechanic itself. And I think that's where Sanctum falls. And I don't think that there's anything you could add to the tree besides maybe an increased chance to get the tomes to drop that would do that. So I think that that's probably why, because Sanctum has never got some interactable part within a map, whereas Heist has the boxes that can drop, Blight is Blight in a map, that kind of thing. But when you take any of those league mechanics outside of the map environment, the Atlas has no effect on them. So I don't know what you would add to it besides increasing tome drops to do them, which I'm not sure is even necessary because you get a lot, unless that's all you wanted to do. But then you're a psychopath and you just buy them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what you would do either, but I mean, at the same time, they have stuff for Heist.
But Heist matters because Heist, you need the coins, you need the contracts, like you need those things, right?
Yeah.
So
it is interesting because if someone's a Sanctum lover, they don't have to worry about spending points on it. You know what I mean? With the exception of maybe just having one cluster that increases book drops or something.
Yeah, and you could buy those. It is an interesting one because if you are a delve person that loves delve, you still need to map because you got to get the sulfite, you got to get the stuff to build up each time. But nothing in the Atlas will affect the delve itself. So yeah, Sanctum's kind of a weird one where the Atlas has no effect on the Sanctum itself, and there's not much you could add to the Atlas to affect, but besides tome drops. I don't know what else you would do.
Yeah. I'm curious what, like, when we were talking to Jonathan at PAX and he was saying that they're going to slowly bring over the different league mechanics. I'm curious what these league mechanics are going to be like in Path of Exile 2, where I don't know, like I think about the tunnel, like what's it called? The very easy English word that I'm forgetting, where choke points, like the choke point style league mechanics, that's Heist and that's Delve, right? There's nowhere to go except in Heist you can hide around a door, but in Delve, until you're actually at the location, it's choke point. You need to handle whatever's there because there's nothing that you can do about it. And I'm curious what that's going to be like in Path of Exile 2. Like, how much are those league mechanics going to need to change to adapt to the slower gameplay where skills take time to cast and things just happen at a slower pace? I know things eventually speed up as well as you get farther into the game, but to me, those type of choke point league mechanics, without knowing anything better, I've only seen what the rest of the community's seen, but those choke point league mechanics seem like a red flag. They seem like they're only doable with the ultimate tank or the ultimate speedster with movement skills and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I'm just curious, as you were talking, I was thinking about, like, maybe I should go into the Delve again. And I'm like, it's like they have some really cool nodes. I like it, but I'm like, nah, there's still so much about it I don't like. I don't like that choke point stuff where they can shoot me some far away when it's just a long line and, that kind of thing. And so I was like, yeah, maybe not. But then I'm like, maybe I'd like it in PoE 2. And I'm like, wow, I would have to change a lot in PoE 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So see, maybe you can just dash through everything or roll or whatever it's called.
Maybe.
All right.
Do you want to talk about this week or should we just pass it on?
Let's do it after dark.
Okay. Sounds good.
It'll also maybe give us some stuff to reference and bait it because I'm casual.
Totes.
All right. Let's wrap this up then. 206 Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Patrons, we will catch you in After Dark. Everybody else, you'll see us in next week in 207 with Octavian, which was a lot of fun. And hopefully, if this is coming out, we didn't suck terribly on Faded Connections. We'll see how it goes. And that's it. If you're looking for more information, you can find down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have a very fun Discord. You should be a part of it. Patrons, other ways to support the podcast, you'll find them down below as well as on our website. Good riddance. I mean, bye.
Toodles. Oh, That would be an amazing drop sound to have. You know how they have shaper sounds in the... Oh, to have him go toodles.